Hello, everyone, and welcome to Canada CPA Online Academy. Today, we have a very special guest with us. Please welcome Amit Mankekar. He is the practice leader of the ServiceNow sector of IBM Canada, and he has been 13 years with IBM, if I'm not wrong. Yes, right. And he has done his ICFAI, so a CFA from Indian CFA Institute, and post graduation in finance, and lots of years of experience. And he's going to share some of his stories, his journey, and his insights with us. So, welcome, Amit, and thank you for giving your time for this interview today.
Thank you, Deepa, for inviting me here. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. So, Amit, if you could tell us something about your journey, your start from your starting career from finance and initial experience in the finance industries, and then you moved to IT industry. So, how was the shift, and in how was your overall journey so far?
Indeed, Deepa. So my journey began with my education with ICFA. I did my, it was through Institute of Chartered Financial Analysts of India. I also did my PG with them. And when I did what was then an MBA equivalent with ICFAI, with the CFA program under ICFAI, I immediately upon graduation there joined HDFC Standard Life Insurance in India. And as a management trainee there, I moved through several departments of HDFC Standard Life Insurance. It was an interesting journey because I was one of the first handful of employees at HDFC Standard Life Insurance, reporting to some of the departmental heads and the CEO. They all were about just 14 or 15 in number when I joined in 2001.
Oh,
When I left in 2000, late 2006, early 2007, we had, with the agents that were there with HDFC Standard Life Insurance, there were over 20,000 agents and employees that we had. So it was
wow. So much growth. Yeah.
exponential growth there. So I moved through as their management trainee, and then through their leadership program. I was leading rest of Maharashtra and Goa for HDFC Standard Life Insurance. So it was a very, very exciting stint for over about 7 years with HDFC Standard Life Insurance. And then I joined IBM in 2007.
Mhm.
My journey with IBM was exciting because it took me through several countries. I lived and worked with in Mexico, in Israel, and then in Canada, where I've been here since 2010. So it has been a shift from being purely finance to financial services, and then now to IT and technology services with IBM here in Canada. So it has been an exciting journey. The last 20 odd years have been very, very valuable, but they've also given me depth of experience and the breadth of a global exposure that I really value and cherish.
Exactly. Yeah. And in those initial, like you said, you like joined as a trainee in like we we don't value that at that point of time, but later we realize that those initial years are really our foundational years, and the things that we learn really help us somewhere in the later stages of our career, or the aspect of our life, definitely.
Indeed, indeed.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you have been in SAP for so long, like 10, 15 years ago, if you see, it was like there was a wave of SAP consultants, like do a course, get a landed job, that type of, scenario was there. It's not there anymore. Like there is so much saturation, and unless you have a niche skill in SAP, it's now becoming difficult to get into or get to that levels of thing. So what are you seeing in the upcoming trends? Like there are a lot of like we are hearing the talks of blockchain, cloud computing, AI is the automation coming in a lot of fields. So where do you see the industry is moving? Do you see the changes? Where do you see the future jobs?
So, Deepa, one of the things that has happened, blockchain, AI, automation, you named it all. But one of the biggest things that has happened over the last 1 year during the pandemic has been the abilities to work remote, right?
Mm-hmm.
Location. For example, today both you and I are recording this from our homes, right?
Yes.
Uh, for the last year or more, all of IBM, for that matter, has been supporting our worldwide customer base working from home.
Yeah.
So that's true with all the major technology companies that exist, and we have been supporting our clients from home. So mobility has grown exponentially. So if you ask me, in addition to blockchain, AI, automation, and so on, I think it has been mobility and the ability for enterprise and industries to invoke skills globally,
Mm-hmm.
irrespective of where they are, provided they are available when they are needed. I think that has become the big change and a
Right.
shift. And that has thrown up several opportunities on the one hand and a few challenges on the other. And the challenges have been surmounted by a lot of mobility tools, if you may, today.
Yeah.
With our abilities to video conference, to share, share information seamlessly across the time zones, transparent to our end users. I think that has been the big change that we have all noticed and lived through the last year or more.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. Like IBM already was supporting remotely too, but still like the 100% remote type of culture, or for some other industries, that shift was phenomenal and has changed the perspectives of definitely. Hope this change lasts in the future and people don't go back to their old ways of doing things. Yeah.
That's the hope, because there is definite efficiencies in this.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to take the audience away from what is big right now in the news, right? So we are hearing of a second and third wave in the COVID scenario today. There is a lot of there is a lot of stress about the pandemic and how the second and the third waves are going to impact industry. But if you look at what's happening with the markets, for example, if you look at what's happening in the Dow Jones and the various indices, including our Indian stock exchanges, which are forward-looking indicators, they
Yeah.
are at all-time highs. Now,
Yes.
if there is enough intelligence in the efficient market theories, as we have all learned, then
Mm-hmm.
we are definitely looking at a lot of both the optimism and enthusiasm in how things are, right? And
Definitely.
why is that coming in, Deepa? I think is because there is a lot of efficiencies in the new ways of working. So there
Yes.
is pain. There is pain in some sectors of the economy. So if I were I was in the restaurant business, for example, or if I was in the hotel industry, for example, um, any service industry that is tactile in nature
Yeah.
or which requires physical connect, I would be uncertain about my future.
Mm-hmm.
But there are myriad other opportunities or avenues that have opened up,
Yeah.
that are opening up opportunities. Specifically, if you look at professional areas like chartered accountants, for example. If I look at the CPAs here in Canada, finance professionals, investment consultants, for example, right?
Yeah.
Tax consultants, if you may. All of these industries really, or vocations, they are not location specific from
Yeah.
where the service is being provided. And
Definitely.
that's where I see a lot of opportunity for our the next generation of consultants who are entering the streams, or who are making shifts in their location or in their vocation. I see that as a major opportunity in the given circumstances.
Yeah. So if you're ready to work, you will find that opportunity somewhere.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So like right now the job market is such that like many people are still trying to enter the Canadian job market. So, what is your advice to them? And like, what do you need to be successful here in the like? What are the soft skills? Like beyond your qualification, there are some things that you need to be successful in just to adapt in a different culture, work culture, like a company culture. And so, what are those skills that you would say that are required in Canadian market specifically?
So anyone who wants to start Deepa their career in Canada, for example, they will hear two key things, right? One is Canadian experience or North American experience, and number two is the right vocational certification, if you may. So, for example, if you are a chartered accountant in India or anywhere in the subcontinent, right,
Yeah.
that chartered accountancy is not equally or not automatically acknowledged or recognized here in Canada.
Yeah.
So that's the one challenge, I think, for anyone who wants to start a vocation here. So CFA, for example, we spoke about what I have done, right? A CFA from ICFAI versus the CFA from Chartered Financial Analysts in the US, right? Uh,
Hmm.
those are not those are not fungible, if you may,
Yeah.
as qualifications. So that is the first step, I think, that one needs to focus on. The
Hmm.
second is Canadian experience or North American experience. So, a recognition of your degrees or your certifications that you have in South Africa, South Asia, or for that matter, anywhere in the world, versus what is required here in North America, and also the experience here in Canada and the US. I think uh, the first part, which is the vocation itself, becomes important. The
Hmm.
certification becomes important because there is opportunity for you to start on that right away, right, wherever you are. Given the
Yes.
global nature of education certification today, it doesn't disallow you from starting a program wherever you are today. So
Yeah.
I would encourage all our listeners today to look at opportunities, to start on the, if you've decided to make Canada your home, then or anywhere in North America, your home, then please start looking at what are the certifications that are required here. CPA, for example, is the next logical step for all chartered accountants who want to come from India to here. It's also a great step to start for finance professionals to start a journey with CPA. So there are
Yes.
not just chartered accountants who want to become CPAs here to get credentials, but anyone who is interested in CPA could start the journey
Yeah.
while he or she is not here, right? So
Yeah.
that would be the first strong encouragement
Yeah.
that I have for our listeners today.
Yeah, I think what I have seen is the younger generation is more open and ready because they're in that learning phase. So those who are just graduating or just completing CA, they are more open to pursue CPA immediately as their next step. It's the mid-level um, working class who is already working there, then they move here, and they are a little bit settled in their life, and there is that immigration that happens. Those are struggling with getting that, but like my advice would also be the same, that even if you are in that zone, still pursue your CPA or CFA for that matter, or whatever next designation that is required for your success. You would get that success, more opportunities, more faster and quickly if the market would open up to you. That is for sure.
Undoubtedly, Deepa,
Yeah.
because the new so we are today in 2021 as we speak, right? And I quote the year because a couple of years later, when if people here listen to your our podcast here,
Hmm.
it would be very different, likely.
Yes.
But today, and the trend that I see is that this is going to be we are in a phase of continuous learning today.
Yes.
So there was a time you could gain the latest and the greatest. For example, a chartered accountant in India, just to quote an example, would have achieved the pinnacle of education
Mhm.
within the vocation in India, and that would be it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
After that, it would be only the work experience that would keep that person getting him or her enriched further and further in his or her vocation.
Yeah.
Today, that's not the case.
Mhm.
Today, we are in an age, and we will continue to be an age of continuous learning, because
Yes.
what we learn today, the certifications we get today, are only the starting point of our journey, right?
Yeah.
So, for example, I come from IBM. I work with IBM, and there is a constant accent and a constant emphasis on continuous education and learning. So, you mentioned at the start AI. You mentioned it. You mentioned automation, for example, or blockchain. There is the various cognitive abilities and digital transformation for organizations. Those are so germane to our journey that
Yeah.
we need to continue to invest in education to bring the
Yes.
latest and greatest to ourselves and to our clients in return. So
Yeah.
I think when you look at finance, for example, the CPAs of the world, we cannot just get a CPA or a chartered accountancy and say we have achieved what we have. I think this is just the start of the journey.
Yeah. There is the data analytics and the Power BI and the reporting automation and everything is like, and I think the last generation, they worked 30 years in the same job, nothing much changed in their world, but like for our generation and upcoming generation, the things are getting absolute, and the evolution in the systems and is so faster, the life cycle of things is so quicker that you have to adapt and keep learning, and that is the strong basis for the continuous learning. Yeah.
Indeed, undoubtedly,
Yeah.
Deepa.
Yeah.
Now, there is so much accent, so much emphasis on how the new technology relates to your core vocation, right?
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
may we are talking to chartered accountants, uh, financial analysts, financial planners, CPAs today, but that's so true for anyone in any vocation.
Yes.
How the new
Yes.
technology, you know, aligns with our core vocation and takes it to a different level, right? In terms
Yeah.
of automation.
Yeah.
So how are we aligned to that? How do we invest to keep ourselves abreast with the technology that both impacts and molds our vocation or our area of focus? I think that's the key.
Right.
But I would like to also bring ourselves, or we're talking of specifically of individuals who want to say look at a vocation in North America, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So individuals who have chosen the path to land in America, in Canada, I think looking at the various resources, Deepa, that
Mm-hmm.
support new migrants,
Mm-hmm.
new immigrants, and and people who have recently landed, there are immense number of support groups available, and
Yes.
I think that is another area I would encourage our listeners to focus on. This is easily available on Google, so we don't want to belabor that.
Yeah.
But I used that a lot when I landed here. So
Mm-hmm.
when I landed here, I must confess it was relatively easy, thanks to to my company which brought me here. IBM brought me here many over a decade ago. I've remained with IBM, so it was an easy shift,
Right.
right? But as a company that brought me here and helped me settle. But when you leave your previous organization and you come here on your own,
Yeah.
it's a little more challenging.
Yes. There is
So,
a struggle. Initially, there is a struggle.
but the rewards of investment in the journey are
Yeah.
immense. I would still encourage people to continue to look at opportunities to do that.
Yes.
And I think the rewards are definitely immense in identifying areas to invest in in where to look at your vocation to invest in, and to look at the support groups that exist to support new migrants, new landed residents here in Canada.
Yes, definitely. Um, you the moving on to the leadership side of things, you have been in the leadership role for past few years. What would you say are the top three qualities as a leader that are required? Everyone, I understand, has a separate or their own type of leadership style, but still, what would you say are the top three things that come to your mind?
So, what has helped me really is a strong empathy to my clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, a strong sense of empathy, understanding client needs. So, I've been a consultant for most of my life, and as a consultant, it has been understanding the needs of the client and providing cutting edge solutions for the client, right?
Right.
But to do that, it requires investment. You cannot get into a discussion with the client unless you have invested your time, energy, and resources in learning about the client, learning about the business problems that the client has, and learning about what is the cutting edge solutions you can bring in to the client. So that
Mm-hmm.
is one area, I think, in empathy. The
Mm-hmm.
second area is thought leadership. Again, the base of that, Deepa, goes back to investment. You have to, we are in the uh, all of us, irrespective of whatever we choose, unless we are in manual labor nowadays, right? We are in thought leadership.
Yeah.
And the everything in the space, as the name suggests, is changing at the speed of thought, right?
Yes.
So investing in to be a thought leader, we need to invest in ourselves to keep ourselves abreast of the latest and greatest in our vocation.
Mm-hmm.
That's the second key element, and the third key element, I think, is investing in people. So I've been also a leader of people in addition to being in strategic leaderships within IBM, but also a leader of large teams here. So investing in the teams and in their in helping the teams grow to meet the latest and greatest has been extremely rewarding for the organization, for which is IBM for in my instance, for the team members themselves, and for myself in return. So I think
Yes,
those are the three key things that I would focus on. But there are
definitely.
many more that come to mind. But these are the
Yeah.
three top
Yeah,
ones.
great insights. It's just one point I would say, like whenever I have interacted you, as you said, you would make it a point maybe to remember my kid's name or something specific about them, and that is one quality I have always uh, liked, or like it stand out that okay, that, and it doesn't, it requires efforts, right? It doesn't come naturally, or you have to take those specific efforts in people, in understanding and showing that empathy. And when you become that constant, then only it starts happening more naturally. So great advice on that
No,
front.
you
And
bring a good point up, and I would like to emphasize on that a little because we talk about technology 4.0, we talk about digital 4.0. We say that we are moving into a digital age. Everything is on is virtual, but behind the virtual there are real people, right?
yes, yes,
And the and I think when I speak, the first value that I mentioned is empathy. I think investing in individuals,
mm-hmm,
being empathetic means understanding people's concerns, right? So
mm-hmm,
you bring up individual needs, as you have said, right, or
yes,
individual priorities. But that is true when when we look at our end users, end clients, when we look at business as well. So if that becomes a good habit to build an empathy
yeah,
for who we are speaking with, I think for all our new landed the newly new aspirants to start a new life here in Canada, those same human values are your bedrock of success to my mind, as you said.
yes. Definitely. Maybe the subjects change, that if we are talking about cricket in India, they would be talking about ice hockey here. But still the interest and like the basic human nature remains the same, and you should be able to connect at some level to that aspect of human life.
Indeed.
Yeah. Um, Now the next question is like, after a longer career in a same industry, things start getting boring, and so how do you avoid that boredom, and what gets you out of the bed, and like what keeps you motivated to enjoy that work with the same enthusiasm over a longer period of time?
So I think, Deepa, it is change. Change is the only thing it's an oft repeated
It's-
adage that
yeah,
change is the
change
only
is the only constant in life. Yeah.
So, we all say that, but the reality is that either you drive change or change is thrust on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what keeps me motivated to my mind is wherever I have had an opportunity to drive change, I have pushed for that. And
Mm-hmm.
whenever change has been thrust upon me, as has often been the case as well,
Mm-hmm.
I have accepted and passionately taken to that change, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and adapted and adopted the change vigorously. So something has happened in my career as well. So from a delivery executive that I've been with IBM, there was an opportunity to lead a practice in ServiceNow. Now that
Yeah.
was a brand new, very different from my education, my vocation, from my experience, to a brand new set of skills, right? Although I have
Yeah.
led a team of 35 to 38 ServiceNow consultants
Mm-hmm.
for about 6 years now, but leading that as a practice for Canada was a brand new experience.
Yeah.
So to my mind, that has been a great motivation for me to move and adopt and adapt to that change, right? So to coming back to our audience here today, when individuals land here with their chartered accountancies and the CPAs in mind, what I would encourage is, or to the team to be open to, is the fact that these changes, Canada and North America continues to be a land of opportunity, a
Mm-hmm.
land of immense dynamism, if you may. And
Yeah.
that dynamism will give you opportunities that you may not have thought of when you land here, right?
Yes. Be
So,
open to that opportunities. Yeah.
yes, and if you are open, there is tremendous opportunity for growth, as it has helped me in my career.
Yeah.
But that's something I would encourage everyone as well.
Yeah. Sometimes it pushes you outside your comfort zone, but that's where that new ray of hope is, and the new success is there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there one thing that you would advise to your younger self? Any mistakes, any regrets? Oh, I wish I would have done, or you're happy where you are, no regrets. What are your thoughts on that?
Uh, when one of the things, and I was talking with my wife and my father a couple of weekends ago, is basic human nature is, for most individuals, is to avoid risk, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the other extreme is to take extreme risks. But I think success lies not in avoiding risk or taking extreme risks. It is somewhere in between.
In the between, yeah.
It is in taking, on a funny side, I was telling my wife and my father, as I was discussing in that discussion, is that it's been 22 years since I've been working. If I had invested all my savings in most moderate risk stocks right now, I would be 5 times over what I needed to be a happily retired person. So measured, well educated risks,
Yeah.
both in terms of not just investments, that's the fun side of it, but in your career as well, in the chances we take, that I think is something I will, uh, um, I don't regret anything, but I will
Mhm.
continue to encourage my daughter as she grows up into a fine adult shortly. and the need for us to take informed, educated chances and risks is what ultimately drives success.
Yeah, right. Pushing a little bit harder, a little bit outside your comfort zone
Exist
to get
exactly,
that. It exponentially increases the benefits at the end of it. Yeah.
undoubtedly.
Yeah. Wonderful insights, Amit. Any final thoughts, words of wisdom for our audience? It was a great you know, when you look back over the years, it's just so much we have done and experienced that the wisdom comes very naturally, I think. So
No, I was chatting with my wife about our discussion today, and one thing we really value, Deepa, is what you are doing for the community, right? The global community. A discussion like this, which equips and empowers or allows people to listen to, in the in terms of resources, opportunities, experiences of individuals, and both gives some insight into some experiences of individuals, but more importantly, some insight into what lies in the future. I think this is something that really inspired us looking at what you're doing. So the only thought I would have for anyone who listens to us is in the value of giving back, right? So when
yeah,
you're driven by giving back to society, giving back to your constituency, wherever we belong to our society, I think it ultimately pushes the envelope further for the society, but more importantly for ourselves. So
very, very nice thought. Yeah. Yeah. I
that's
I read a book last month. It's called Pencils of Promise, and he says that don't think what the world needs. You know, like, okay, world needs this, I can't do that. Think what you can do and start there, and you will fit in somewhere. You will be helping. So that's a great I think thought. And I started this channel just to help. Like when I was doing CPA, I wish I had some resources like that, and that was the thing that gave me the energy and the passion, motivation to start this thing. So definitely give back whatever, wherever, in whatever way you can.
indeed, indeed.
Yeah.
Deepa, if you have any questions from your listeners, I would be happy to answer. I'm available on LinkedIn. Also available on my emails. It is my first and last name, Amit Mankekar at hotmail.com. So please direct any questions. I would do whatever is within my abilities to support your audience and anyone who is looking for resources. But
Thank
I
you. Thank you.
really appreciate what you are doing, Deepa, giving back to your community, giving back to your, this chartered accountants, CPAs, finance students
Community. Yeah.
who in the community who want to start a new life in North America and Canada in particular. And I
Yeah.
wish you and our listeners all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time, Amit, today. Thank you again.
My
Yeah.
pleasure and privilege. Thank you for having a chat with me.
Thank you.